Yeah, but I didn't read it yet.
Are picking up from Tosfos, Lamav Avam Beis, and Beisel Omrim Af Machzirin. So we've already worked out for most of the people here the concept that Tosfos holds that Chazara. Forget the Svar. Just the concept that Chazara is a problem on Erev Shabbos as well. But the problem is that if Chazara is a problem on Erev Shabbos, so as Ezra Koppel's been asking me every single day this week, he keeps texting me and phoning me about this. The problem is, what's the problem? The problem is terrible, right? It's like it's a middle-aged man joke. Anyway, so the problem is that but there has to be a Zman for this, right? What's the Zman? It can't just be that if a guy cooks on Sunday and does Chazara on Sunday, that's Chazara. That's absurd. How could that be? It's impossible.
Or is it Shia? I don't understand.
Don't be so fancy. Let's just do what he says.
Why is it impossible? Is it Shia?
Because then what do you call it? Then how can I have food on Shabbos?
You just can't leave it on.
From Tosfos where he says Im Tomar. Okay.
Same time I reflect I was hit by a storm.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down in the Tosfos. Im Tomar.
Im Tomar. Mashir hu nasin lesser by Shabbos.
What's his question?
What is the shear given to Aser Chazara and their Shabbos?
Right. Okay. Okay. Before I get too fancy with Shehiyah, it's clear what he's asking is what's the Zman? Okay. So what does he say? Right. So you see what he says?
Friday morning.
Right. So you can. Right. So Ezra, that already he takes up your thing. Okay. Again, just to read it slowly, he says, "Dehecha de salku b'hashkama." Salku means. Salku means what? Intuit. No, I'm saying you should intuit what that means. What is took it off? Hashkama means what? Early, right? Right? Pshita de shari lahachzir. So of course it's obvious that it's permitted for me to return it. So you can't tell me Chazara exists on Friday morning.
Why isn't there the aspect of messing Kamashal then?
I don't know, that's a good question. What's the Havamina?
Well, there's no. It's Pshita. He said no Havamina.
I know, but there's a Havamina.
It's a Pshita.
I know, there's a Havamina though. Keep going.
Vaimer Ri. De Mishashala Yaichlu Lahar Tichai Mibagan.
Okay, so what does that mean?
That from the time that you're not able to...
from the Shah, Shalo Yuchlu Laharsicha. Now what does Roseach mean? To make hot. Literally, I mean very hot. To cook. Uh-huh. Okay, so the amount of time it would take to do what?
Cook. If fully cooked food. In other words, it has to be before it's fully cooked.
Right. Okay, so could you give me a practical example?
Yeah.
Give me a practical example.
Chicken takes 8 hours.
Okay, give me a better example than that.
Takes 12.
Don't take one. No, because take an example of like an hour, like a steak. Okay, let's say it takes a steak an hour to cook.
Like a minute steak.
Right, but yet 60 minutes. Okay.
A 60-minute steak.
60-minute steaks.
A 60-minute piece of chicken. Okay.
That's what I said.
You said 8-hour chicken.
Why not?
Okay, a 60-minute piece, and 1 hour piece of chicken. Okay, so Shabbos is what time?
6.
Okay, and when do you put the chicken on?
4.
4. Okay, so then what's the halacha?
You could do chazar.
You could do chazar. Let's say I put the chicken on at
5:01.
5:01. Then I cannot do chazar.
He's all talking about doing chazar before Shabbos starts.
Correct. So when is this man on Erev Shabbos that I can't do it? The amount of time it takes for what?
Cooked food.
Okay, of that food. Okay.
Obviously.
There has to be some bishul on
Shabbos.
What do you mean on Shabbos?
There has to be some. This food has to be being cooked when Shabbos starts. There has to be some concept of this food being cooked on Shabbos.
Yeah, but 1 second. But if
because in order for it to be Machzin Gavashal, it has to be. In order for it to be Machzin Gavashal on Erev Shabbos, there has to be some bishul on Shabbos being done.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can't say it's Machzin Gavashal.
Right. So what is right? So Tosfos is he wants to tie. There's a few loose ends here. There's a few loose ends here. There's one of the loose ends he's trying to tie up. So again, what's he saying?
So there has to be some concept of bishul being done on Shabbos in order for it to be Machzin Gavashal on Erev Shabbos.
You mean? But what do you mean by bishul done on Shabbos? What do you mean by that?
Like the food.
I'm not questioning. There is some idea to Erev Shabbos. I'm saying I don't think what Tosfos is focusing on here. It's not about like the kedusha siyom. But what's he saying? What's he relating it to? I mean, you guys are all saying it. So
Machzin Gavashal has to be on Shabbos. There has to be some bishul on Shabbos in order to be Machzin Gavashal on Erev Shabbos.
Okay. So, but now let's go back to what the thing is. In other words, what he's saying is that. In other words, in order for it to be defined as here's the key thing. In order to be defined as a Maisa Bishul,
on Shabbos,
it has to be right, or a Maisa Bishul for Shabbos.
Maisa Isser Bishul.
Right. That's what I mean with that. Maisa Isser Bishul for Shabbos. What has to happen?
Bishul on Shabbos.
There has to be an emergence of Bishul on Shabbos itself. Okay. So that's the easy, simple way to get out of your question. Your question was, Ekos on Sunday. So you're right. You could argue it's not a real Havamina. Right. That's why he says Pshita. But you could say, 1 second, the guy did Shi and Chazar. No, Tosfos is saying that there has to be a quality in the very action itself, right, that tells you that this is for Shabbos. Right? Now, how do you express that quality? Because what's going to happen to the food at some point?
It
will be cooked on Shabbos.
On Shabbos itself. There'll be the reality to the bishul process taking place on Shabbos
You
itself.
can't have Shia without that also.
I agree.
So both Shia and Chazar have to be within that time.
Correct.
Unless
what?
However, b'Shabbos afilu roteach aser on Shabbos, even if it's already fully cooked, it's aser la'aser. Why does he use roteach? Whatever.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
What?
You'll see. Keep going.
Sound like Masamic Yafalo.
Well, what's it? No.
Scalded?
Yeah. Very, very hot. You'll see why. There's a reason why he's going this direction. Hold on.
Aser la'aser lamanda aser. According to Beishamai, di lav hachi. Because if he did not say this, minale de Reb Aishia savar machzirin afilu b'Shabbos. How did Reb Aishia know?
Or hold.
Think, yeah.
Like you could do chazara.
You could do chazara even on Shabbos. Dilma kumkumus shel chamin roteach.
Haba. Okay, stop.
What's kumkum?
So what do you think that is?
A
kettle.
Quill.
Yeah. So it's amazing how that word still applies. A kettle.
What's a quill?
A quill? A quill is what you use is like
a kolmus?
A kolmus, yeah. Yeah. So what did Roshia say? We're gonna do that Gemara. What does Roshia say in that case? Come on, what does he mean by that?
You could do chazar on Shabbos.
That you could do he's saying, but even though look at what he says, even though the kettle is burning hot, right, you could still do it.
Do what? The kettle is what you're putting back on?
But it's got food, whatever, it's food in it.
Even?
Let's say I have a case where this is going to be Tosfos Chiddush, okay? This part you can pay attention to, okay? Let's say I have a boiling pot of cholent, okay? That I put on that I started cooking on Erev Shabbos, okay? And now it's Shabbos, and when I look at that pot of cholent, it is boiling. It's bubbling on the top. It's roseach, okay? It's bubbling. Now what do? Okay? I take it off. I'm holding it in my hand though. I take it off. I'm using obviously I'm being safe. I'm using a mitt. I take it off. I serve it, right? Real quickly, one quick bowl, but while it's still in my hand, it's still piping, boiling hot, and I want to put it back on again. Okay? According to saying that chazar is aser, would that be considered a problem or not?
Oh, so what it would be?
So let's understand something. In other words, remember the issues we're dealing with here. Okay, one is Mexi Kabishal, right? One is the problem Mexi Kabishal, which you seem to have a problem with, and two, the other issue is the chazar is a separate ma'isa. Okay. So which one do you want to take up first, the Habin or the Maskana? Or the Habin? Okay. So Habin is saying that if I take the food off, right, and it's piping hot, I can put it back on again. It won't be considered chazar. Right? Why not?
Because the heat is not changed.
Oh, so when I put it back on, right, there's no effect taking place in the food. Right. Chazara has to, as a ma'isa, there has to be an expression of it, an actual expression in the cooking of the food. So if the food is 1,000 degrees, right, and I put it back on, I know it's going down to 999, but still, it's basically the same thing, right? It's basically the same thing, right? There's no effect being done there, right? So that's what's lacking, right? Meaning that's not what? There'd be no Mexi Kabishal there. How you can't have a Mexi Kabishal if you're telling me that there's no actual effect of cooking at all in this phenomenon. At least by reheating food, what are you doing? I know John doesn't like that, but when you reheat food, what are you doing? There's some effect taking place in the food. It's not a bishul effect, but it's some effect. But the Maskana is saying no. Maskana is saying that, well, go back to what does the Mishnah say? This is what you were saying before. You didn't use the right word. The Mishnah says,
it is the weirdest.
No lin avalo machzirin.
Laman is the weirdest serious enough ever.
No lin avalo machzirin. Meaning what? What does netila signify?
Take it off.
That's it. That's it. Chazar is a separate ma'isa. So even though it's true that when I put it back on, it doesn't have the normative Mexi Kabishal, but I did a netila. So what does netila do? Netila and shahiyah. See, but I'm saying, I want to make sure you get that point. Listen. This is an important point. Okay, I'm sorry. If you miss this point, you're going to miss a very important point in Tosfos. Tosfos is telling you that. That's why I want to learn out this Havi Maskana. What? What's the problem with Chazara? Mexi Kabishal. Right. So what Tosfos is saying that if I take the pot and I put it back on again, since the food is piping hot, right? There's no Mexi Kabishal problem. He's saying Kamash Mulan that even if the food is piping hot, I still can't put it back on again. Why not?
Because Mexi Kabishal is on the gaffer.
Better than that. Okay, so that's the key thing. Netila does what? Netila and shahiyah. Okay, netila and shahiyah. So once shahiyah is over, the only thing we can talk about from that point on is what? Chazara.
Why are Shabbos?
Why not?
Why are Shabbos is it okay?
Yaakov's putting it a better way. It was really a question of netila. What does netila do? Is netila the end of shahiyah? That's a maskana. Or does he know it's only the end? Is the physical removal of the food the end of shahiyah? Or no, it has to actually be expressed in the temperature of the food. Right. That's what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. That's good. I like that. That's good. Hardest part. All right.
V'ayda Murray. And furthermore, the Re says further, the Metzino Meimar, the Erev Shabbos Nami Asar Achsar Afilu Reiteach.
Okay, slow.
Even on Erev Shabbos, it's also usher to put something back on, even if it's piping hot. Misha. Misha Haya Kar Layachal Lartiach. At the time that if it became cold.
See, that's why we're talking about piping hot, and we're not talking about cooking. We're talking about piping hot and cold. What's he saying, though? This is tough to figure out.
What's it called? You could also say that.
What are you trying to do in Erev Shabbos?
He's trying to create
Take it off,
a
make
of
it-
Erev Shabbos, which is exactly like Shabbos.
What do you mean? What's he doing? Don't get too fancy. Just simple. What's he doing? Shki is at 6. Yeah. How long does it take? Right, to do what? How long does it take to cook the food from raw to what do you call it? To cook? Just listen. From raw.
1 hour.
1 hour. To cook that you like it.
Three takes like 20 minutes.
Let's say an hour. How long does it take to reheat the food from cold to roseach?
2 minutes with a mic.
Okay, so at least everyone's agreeing with one thing, that it's less time. That's the first thing you have to recognize. In other words, Tosfos is saying, what about a case like this? That's why, by the way, if you didn't understand everything at this point, it's going to...
Is it always less time?
What's Tosfos' last point?
So,
no, you should avoid that. Or at least don't build it with them. Okay, so what's Tosfos say? Tosfos says like this. Tosfos has one last point.
all your kids come from
Wait, what does Tosfos say? You guys, let's... No. So what does Tosfos say? Tosfos says that what would you think? You would think that when when it comes to reheating of food, okay? Yeah. Where what are you doing? Let's say on like again, what does he say? He says the Erev Shabbos on Erev Shabbos, okay? Nami also lahachzir afilu roseach, right? So you would not be able to do chazara if the food is piping hot. When? And the amount of time it would take to do reheating of that food.
So what's considered cold? Room temperature?
It's room temperature. They didn't have a freezer back then, so room temperature. Okay? So understand that? In other words, so Tosfos has one last wrinkle. He says...
No, that makes sense.
Why?
Why? Because if we're...
Does everyone understand what he's saying?
Maybe if Shia
was done
even if Shia was done on
Well,
Wednesday.
let me explain the fact first. There's a Havina Maskana. The Havina is saying that... But what's the case? The case is, it's Erev Shabbos, okay? And let's assume it takes 20 minutes to reheat the food.
So it's 10 minutes till Shabbos.
10 minutes of Shabbos. And it takes 20 minutes to reheat the food. 20 minutes to reheat my chicken. Okay? And now I have in my hand what?
Chicken.
Piping hot chicken. Okay? So if it's within the period of time, right, of what?
Of reheatation.
Of reheatation, at 20 minutes, I can't do it.
And that's even if this year was done on
Correct.
Sunday.
So the Havmina is... No, why?
Why not?
Why does it matter when the Shia was done? Forget the Shia.
Even if it was done on
Fine.
Sunday.
It was 5:10.
What?
Could you do it then?
So there didn't have to be
Yes.
a Shia at all.
Yes.
There didn't have to be Shia at all. I mean, technically there had to be, but technically
Right.
there didn't have to be.
Let's see, all we know is one thing. Right now the food is piping hot.
Factually,
Hold on.
The whole problem of Chazar and Erev Shabbos is a big chiddush according to Tosfos.
You just said
Because I didn't record it. Because you're introducing an idea of you're so aggressive. You're introducing an idea of Maxi Kabishel in the food on Erev Shabbos. That's a big chiddush, right? Then Tosfos brings in this case of Roseach on Shabbos itself. That we can understand. Okay. Now Tosfos is saying the case of Roseach can even apply in Erev Shabbos. But his hamin is that you would think that Roseach on Erev Shabbos is not a problem. So why does he think it wouldn't be a problem of Chazar of Roseach on Erev Shabbos? Right? Because he's saying like this. He's saying that it's a huge chiddush already to say this Chazar on Erev Shabbos. Okay? Right. So the question is, do we extend that idea? In other words, how far do we take the idea of Chazar being a reality in Erev Shabbos? That's really what's bothering Tosfos. How far can you go with it? Okay? So his Hamina would say that since in the case of Roseach, what are we lacking? Actual bishul, right? Because there's no change in the temperature whatsoever. Since that's the case, in an Erev Shabbos, what would you say? It should be fine. So what's his maskana telling you?
it's not fine.
But why? Well, he's not completely. What I want to posit is that he's holding there is a difference between Erev Shabbos and Shabbos. There's some remaining. He wants to show there's some little difference.
Oh.
Why is there a little difference?
There has to be something being happening on Shabbos in order for it to become Erev Shabbos.
And then what do you see different in the Roseach case though, versus the Bishul case?
On Shabbos.
Nothing cooks.
On Shabbos, let's say.
Better. What's the
It's not in cooking.
No, what's the difference in Zman? What's the difference in Zman though? What could have Tosfos done? What could have Tosfos done if he wanted to in his madness? Tosfos could have said that the Zman for reheating on Erev Shabbos is the same as what? As cooking.
Why?
Why not?
It's not true.
I don't know. I know it's not true, but if he says like this, he said if the food is normal, right? Chazara is only a problem when?
That's the Shabbos.
Right. So that period of time. Now he's saying when the food's piping hot, then what?
Well, I don't know.
No, he's saying that the amount of time is reheat time. What could he have said?
Oh.
Regular cooking time. You understand what I'm saying? So he's, yeah.
I just want can we say again why